You like free? I like free. Everyone likes free. Adventurers, it's Ranger Bunny and I am here to share another exciting campground review as well as a product which can help you along your adventures. So let's get right to the details. If you are like me, you love to go to national parks and these big, large attractions that they have. However, you don't like paying the premium price to stay inside those locations. So you seek things around the boundaries to find yourself a little bit better deal. Yeah, a little deal goes a long way. That happened to be the case last night as I pulled into the Crater Lake area and was looking at the prices of some of the improved campgrounds, and my jaw was just getting lower and lower and lower to the ground. Not everybody has the same needs, and my needs are very minimal. And so I can stay in a more primitive campground and not be burdened, like, at all. So I was very excited to have found this national forest where, as you know, they have plenty of camping space.
But wait, there's more.
For those who have never stayed in the national forest, there are a variety of different styles of camping you can do. Improved campgrounds, where they have vault toilets and little pull-outs and fire rings and picnic tables. And then they have primitive camping, where they have a camping area established with pull-outs, but all of the bells and whistles just aren't there. And then you have just forest road camping, which I don't necessarily like to do because you're literally right on the road. The second option, the primitive camping, vastly appeals to my budget and then also to me. They're normally a little bit more quiet, the spaces are beautiful, and well, they just are in impeccable places, like that you wouldn't see unless you ventured down to go camping. This was the road that I drove in on last night. Notice, it's just a gravel road. It's actually pretty even. It's not scary at all. This was the campsite that I selected. Notice, this is the road, this is the campsite, and it's engulfed in this little cubby of trees, which kept me from getting blown around in the wind. A nice big site. I could put my tent right here. I have plenty of space for my car, and I could set up my own little kitchen over here, which I did. The best thing about staying in national forests are the views. The views are amazing. And while I stayed down here kind of a little bit more in the valley of this, if I would have continued driving forward, right here, you can go upwards, and as you can see, what's that? That's a snow-capped mountain. National forest campgrounds are an amazing place to stay, and I definitely recommend them to anyone who is able to be self-sufficient. It gives you just so much more of a natural vibe. Whenever you wake up in the morning, you don't have slamming doors around you, you don't have a whole bunch of people rushing off and making loud noises with their cars. You can truly appreciate where you're at, and that, in my book, is truly camping. I'm going to drive you around and show you a little bit more, but first, let me tell you about our item of the day that will be keeping us nice and shaded when we do go into Crater Lake. That's right, it's another Banner and Oak hat. I like this one because it makes me feel outdoorsy. It's camo, it's cute, and it has a little bit different fit than a typical standard snapback. Let me show you the difference. So as you can see, this hat is more of a military style. I like it because it has a lower profile on my head and it still is adjustable. So as you turn it around, you'll notice that it has this kind of fasten so it can be easily adjusted, which is great for my head because I have a smaller head. I also like that inside the webbing that creates it also continues the pattern so it fits nice and flush. I would definitely recommend this to those who are doing a lot of bicycling or just want a cute hat. It stays pretty secure, and the only thing I can say that I personally want to work on with the hat is when you get it, the bill is pretty flat. So trying to fix that to shape my head a little bit better. So on a sunny day like today, obviously Banner and Oak is going to be fitting for our trip. It's going to be a wonderful way to just give me a little bit of shade on my face, and then also to keep a little bit of the heat in. Despite the fact that I'm wearing a tank top today, it is a little bit chilly. I just know that I'm going to be working up a good sweat whenever I'm hiking around Crater Lake. So Banner and Oak, is making our National Forest campground and our Crater Lake experience awesome this time. I definitely recommend a hat to anyone who is traveling. It is so necessary. They come in handy for so many things that you don't even think of. When it's raining, when it's super sunny, whenever it's cold. All of these kinds of weather,
3 things right here,
are great with a hat. It's just an essential travel item. We just drove through is actually another camping area. It is a pull-through site and you can stay here nice and secluded. I didn't pick this one because I'm not that large and I didn't want to take away from somebody who might need a little bit more space. There was another one up here I also contended with. Again, opting not to because my size. I figured somebody else would probably need it. So this is the site right here, and as you can see, this one actually has a fire ring that has been established by a previous camper. Just remember, if you're staying in the National Forest, to fully extinguish your fire before you go to bed. It's so important. But as you can see, that's a huge section right there. At a home, you might be asking yourself, why didn't you go to the area that you could see the mountain a little bit more? One, I knew that area was more exposed based on the reviews, and I didn't want to be blowing around because it was pretty windy yesterday. But two, the road right here, it may not look bad. It's a little steep, but my problem was, if you look down right here, this is the gravel that goes up the mountain. It's really loose. And so taking my car with low clearance and taking it up an incline already, it was a little slippery for my liking. I did not feel comfortable doing that. So if you have a vehicle that has maybe a 4-wheel drive or even a higher clearance, the upper spots are probably for you. While you're traveling down the road, there are numerous pull-offs throughout. There were several before I got to the pull-off that I decided would be mine. I was very impressed by how even some of the sites are and then how challenging some of them were. It truly gives you a pick-your-own-adventure kind of camping experience. As you can see, this one section has washout. This is the only section of the road that was a little tricky. Now, if you have a map, you'll be able to see cross streets, but if your map is lacking a bit, they do have labels on various trees, usually marked in orange, telling you which is and is not an actual road. This allows you to venture a little bit further off of the regular path to find camping, but not to create your own path, which could damage the forest. Now last night, whenever I arrived at camp, I got here pretty early. I wanted to make sure that I definitely had a camping site before I even decided to tackle Crater Lake today. It was very important to me to find something where I could have a little bit of seclusion. And there was only one camper at the time, and they were right here. They were a van, and as you can see, it was super even in this site. They were able to get in there, set up completely. They still had a little bit of sun, so they were charging their solar panels, and they didn't have a fire ring, but I did notice that they had a little camp stove like I do. So, like I said, it's a pick your adventure kind of place. You're better off coming prepared because there are no stores for about 20 minutes though. Keep that in mind. As you can see here, this is not an official marked map road, but this is a little campground road. So as you go down here, there are sites on both sides. There is a limit, however. If you're staying in a free campsite on a national forest, you can stay between 7 and 14 days. After that, you must move on, and usually it's to another ranger district. You will need to check, of course, online to see if it is a 7 or 14 day stay. That's really important. And other things that you might want to kind of keep in consideration, a lot of the national forests, the cell service is not great. You have a lot of tree coverage and very few actual towers in your area. So think about that whenever you're planning a national forest trip. Officially reached the highway entrance. I just wanted to show you that There is no marking for this campsite, so you have to know where you're going in order to find it. I definitely recommend doing an offline map and putting the GPS coordinates directly in. I will leave the GPS coordinates that I stayed at in the descriptor below. I think that you're really going to like this camping area, especially if you're one of those people who really likes to just get off grid and enjoy yourself unplugged. As you can see here, this is the road that we just traveled down. It's a little intimidating looking for a smaller car when you first look at it, but as you can see, it was nice and even with the exception of that one location. I hope today you have enjoyed my campground review of my wonderful Forest Service site. I hope that you will get out and explore places like this and truly enjoy yourself in a way you might not think possible. Thanks to Banner and Oak, we're about to head out to Crater Lake and enjoy our day. We're only about 5 minutes from the entry from here. So, weird little fact about my campsite last night. The mountain that I showed you, when I went to bed, it had no snow on it. When I woke up, there was totally snow on it and there was ice on my car.